In this video, we'll show you how to replace the knock sensor on your Subaru Baja. This is located in the front of the vehicle and on top of the engine. Let's get started. We'll use a 10mm. We can just loosen up the terminal a little bit and set it off to the side. We have two 10mm we can remove from either side of the airbox. We need to remove this in order to get access to our knock sensor. We can do the same with the 10mm on the other side. And we can remove this 10mm as well. We can unplug this sensor into the airbox. Now we can use an 8mm or a flathead to loosen up this hose clamp. Now we have vacuum hoses on either side. These just have a little pinch clamp. Move that off and then pull the hose off. We'll do the same to the one on the other side. On this side, we can pull part of the intake hose out of the way and then pinch that clamp and pull the hose off. Now we can pull on the airbox towards the back of the vehicle and lift it out of the car. Looking down just behind the intake manifold and right in front of where our airbox was, we see this gray connector here. That's the connector we need to undo. And then beyond that, we have the head of our bolt. We can remove the bolt for our knock sensor with a 12mm. Now I'm going to use a stick magnet to grab that bolt. Now we can remove this bolt with a 12mm, holding on the bracket for our knock sensor wire. We'll grab that with our magnet. Now we can go ahead and press down on the tab of the connector. Now we can go ahead and pull our knock sensor out. Now we need to swap this bracket over to the new sensor. To do that, we can pull up on the tab, pull the bracket off, and we'll install that on the new one. You want to make sure that locks fully down. We can install that back in the car. When installing the knock sensor, you want to make sure that it's approximately at 60 degrees to the rear of the engine. That means clocking it in the same way that it was when you removed the old one. Get our knock sensor back on top of the engine. Get the bolt into our harness bracket. We'll just snug that down. That doesn't need to be too tight at all. We can get the electrical connector plugged back in. You gotta make sure that that's fully seated and isn't gonna pull back out. I'm gonna use a set of long-handled needle nose pliers to line up the bolt into its hole. We'll snug that down. Now we can torque this to 17.4 foot-pounds. We can get our airbox lined back up, slide that over the throttle body. You want to check to make sure that you haven't folded over your rubber grommet on the bottom as you do this. Get that seated down and get each of your bolt holes lined up. And get our bolts back in. We'll snug each of these down. Next, we need to get the vacuum hoses on each side of the airbox. Make sure you get the clamp back on there. On the passenger side, we need to get the intake back together. We can just push that together. Get the hose on the other side. Don't forget the clamp. It's good to try to get these pinch clamps down the same orientation that they were when you removed them. That way they don't want to pull off. We'll plug this connector back in. Make sure that's fully seated and won't pull back off. Now we can tighten down the hose clamp holding on the airbox. This doesn't need to be too tight, just tight enough to hold the airbox on. And get the terminal on the battery. Make sure that your 10mm is orientated so that you can tighten it down. And we'll just snug that up. Start up the vehicle and make sure you don't have a check engine light. If you don't have a check engine light, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.